The sun was just beginning to rise over the wide Montana plains, painting the horizon in streaks of molten gold and soft amber light. The air smelled of dust, leather, and the promise of another hard day's work. The ranch was alive with movement, horses stirring in their pens, wind brushing through the dry grass, and the soft clank of metal as the ranch hands began their morning routines. Among them stood Cole Maddox, the ranch's owner, tall, broad-shouldered, the kind of man whose silence spoke louder than most men's words. His eyes, the color of the storm that never quite came, watched everything with sharp awareness. Life on the Maddox ranch had never been easy, but Cole liked it that way. He believed the land tested a man, forged him like steel in fire. Then she arrived. Sierra Lane, the new horse trainer, sent from Texas after her reputation, had already outrun her shadow. They said she could tame any wild stallion, that she rode like she was part of the wind itself, but they also said she had a temper hotter than the desert sun and pride that couldn't be broken by any man alive. Cole didn't believe in stories until he saw her ride in that morning, dust swirling behind her boots like a storm following its master. She dismounted with the grace of a dancer and the confidence of someone who didn't need to prove a damn thing to anyone. Her eyes met his, a spark flashing, challenge recognized, line drawn. "You're the boss?" she asked, voice smooth but edged with steel. Cole gave a slow nod, wiping sweat from his brow. "That's what they tell me," he said, his tone even. "And you're the one who claims she can handle Diablo?" At the mention of the horse's name, a few of the hands went quiet. Diablo was more legend than horse, a black stallion with fire in his eyes, known for throwing every rider who dared climb his back. Sierra's lips curved into a smirk. "Is that all you've got?" she said, glancing at the restless horse pawing at the dirt. The men chuckled nervously. Cole's jaw tightened, not from anger but intrigue. He wasn't used to being talked to like that, especially not by someone who looked like her, fierce, unbending, beautiful in the kind of way that could ruin a man if he wasn't careful. "Suit yourself," he said, stepping back. "But when he throws you, don't say I didn't warn you." She only tossed him a quick grin before stepping into the corral, her boots sinking into the dust. Diablo snorted, muscles tense under his dark coat, eyes wild with fury. The air itself seemed to hold its breath as Sierra approached, calm and fearless, whispering softly as she moved closer. Cole watched every motion, the steadiness in her hands, the rhythm in her steps, the way the horse's rage seemed to falter just slightly in her presence. For a moment it was as if something sacred was happening, the meeting of two wild spirits cut from the same untamed cloth. Then in one smooth motion Sierra mounted. Diablo reared back, screaming into the morning, hooves kicking up dust like thunderclouds. The ranch hands shouted, some running toward the fence, but Cole didn't move. His eyes were locked on her, on the way she stayed steady, her back straight, her hand firm on the reins, refusing to yield. She rode him like she was born for it, like the storm had found its match. Minutes passed like hours, until finally Diablo stopped fighting, chest heaving, and lowered his head in reluctant surrender. The silence that followed was almost reverent. Sierra dismounted slowly, brushed dust from her sleeve, and turned toward Cole. Her smirk returned, confident, teasing. "Guess he just needed the right touch," she said. Cole stepped forward, the faintest trace of a smile tugging at his lips. "Or maybe he met someone just as stubborn as he is," he replied. For the first time in years, the ranch felt alive in a new way, charged, unpredictable, alive with the spark of something neither of them was ready to name. And as Sierra walked past him, the wind carried her scent, wild, free, and unforgettable. Cole knew right then, this woman wasn't just here to train horses. She was here to test him, to challenge every boundary he'd built around himself, and deep down he wasn't sure he'd win. The morning heat had begun to settle over the ranch, shimmering like a mirage across the open plains. Dust hung in the air, and the smell of sweat and horses clung to everything. Yet the only thing anyone seemed to talk about was the woman who'd just tamed the devil himself. Sierra Lane had done what no man on the Maddox ranch could. She'd ridden Diablo until he bowed his head. By noon, her name was already legend among the ranch hands. Some whispered admiration, others muttered disbelief, but all kept sneaking glances her way as she walked across the yard, her hat tilted low and her steps sure. Cole Maddox stood near the corral fence, watching her with an expression he couldn't quite define. Respect, maybe irritation? Definitely. But beneath it all, there was something else. Something he hadn't felt in a long time. She had disrupted the rhythm of his ranch and worse, his peace. For years the land had been his only companion, the dirt and wind the only things he trusted. But now there was this woman, untamed, unpredictable and far too proud for her own good. Sierra noticed his stare before he even realized he was doing it. "You plan on looking, or are you going to say something, boss?" she called, stopping in her tracks. Her voice had that teasing edge again, like she knew exactly how to get under his skin. Cole pushed off the fence, brushing his gloves together. "Just making sure you're not still drunk off your own victory," he said. "You got lucky with Diablo. Don't let it get to your head." She smirked, stepping closer until they were standing barely a few feet apart. "Luck had nothing to do with it," she said quietly. "You just don't. Like that someone did what you couldn't." The words hit harder than a punch,